Hello everyone, my name is Julia. I'm a certified Montessori teacher, as well as a mom of a 14-month-old named Isaac and a stepmom to an 8-year-old named Asher. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you 5 things that your Montessori teacher wants you as a parent to know. I make videos on how to implement Montessori at home in very easy and practical ways, as well as share with you philosophies that I have learned through my training and through my years in the classroom. My goal is to also give you tools to help tie in what happens in a Montessori classroom with your Montessori practices at home, and to reassure you that even if your child doesn't attend a Montessori school, Montessori at home can be compatible in many areas of life. All right, so in my years of teaching, I had families and students from all aspects of life. I had students who'd been in Montessori since preschool. I had students who switched over halfway through a year, who switched from French immersion to English, who moved in from a different city, who were maybe attending a Montessori school in a different city. And each family is unique, and each family has their own way of operating and their own interpersonal dynamic between themselves. There are, however, 5 things that your Montessori teacher wants you for sure to keep in mind to help make your child's experience at a Montessori school the best it can possibly be. The very first way is trust the method. You are investing in a Montessori school for your child for a reason. And I should hope that one of those reasons is because you know the basics of the Montessori method and you've decided that it is what is going to best suit your child's needs and to help them grow to their fullest potential. At the same time, most of us as adults haven't gone through a Montessori education and so are quite left in the dark when it comes to really understanding how the method and the presentations and all the philosophy plays out on a day-to-day basis in the classroom. Trust the method. Trust that if your child doesn't reach a certain milestone that you maybe have in your head for them by a certain grade, it'll come. Trust in the method that is being implemented every single day in a consistent routine for years. Students in a Montessori school have the same teacher for 2 to 3 years, which plays such a significant role in the adults in the classroom really getting to know exactly how each child operates and catering the curriculum to their individual needs. If you don't understand how the method works, then trust that you have invested in a professional setting where the adults are trained in not only the government required curriculum that needs to be implemented anyway, but also trained in observation skills and implementation techniques that are only in your child's best interest. And this leads me to my second thing that Montessori teachers want you to know, which is ask questions. Feel free to send emails or to ask for a meeting once a month if you have questions on how you can support your child's learning at home if needed, or ways that you can teach yourself about certain aspects of the Montessori method so that you can help your child if they ask you questions at home. Ask away. We love to talk about it, and we love if you want to be helpful. The school community and the families that are in the school community form such a stronger and a different kind of connection than you might see in other private or public schools because of the nature of the multi-aged classrooms and children being with the same teacher and perhaps siblings being with the same teacher for 3 or 6 or even 8 years. Potentially you could go through the same teacher, and as such that connection provides many open doors and many opportunities to have discussions and to ask the questions that are on your mind or to clarify something that your child may come home and talk about this material that they worked with, or this presentation that they got today, and it might be way over your head. And that's when you can go to your classroom teacher and say, hey, my child came home and said that they were presented the test tube division today. I mean, what is that? I recognize the word division, but I have no idea what test tube is. That to me is a chemistry word. Well, we would love to show you how test tube division introduces the concept of long division and breaks it down and shows the child the why of why long division is done the way that it's done. The third thing that your Montessori teacher wants you to please know is to respect any of the uniform or dress codes that the school is asking for. This means that if certain shoes are required or certain items of uniform are required on a daily basis, to please respect that. It's not fun to have to remind students and families to come dressed in the proper uniform. It's not fun to implement policing methods of making sure that families have the right uniform. The school that I worked at really tried to balance understanding that sometimes families, sometimes you leave the door and you realize that your child is wearing the wrong shirt for their uniform or whatnot. And the school that I worked at was also really good at not implementing very many punitive methods for a lack of uniform, but it's a requirement and it's there for a reason. Same thing if your school's asking for a pair of indoor shoes and a pair of outdoor shoes, to bring proper rain gear, because respecting the dress code also shows that you're respecting what the school community is asking in itself. And that means a lot. You're also asking your child to respect the dress code. Just remember that school is your child's work, and just as you are expected when you go to work to dress appropriately for work, so is your child expected. And I mean, there are dress codes for even public schools. There are certain clothing items that are not deemed appropriate, etc., etc. But it is a part of trusting the method, which is the first thing that teachers want you to know, that is an important part, and it's there for a reason. So whether or not your child attends a private Montessori school where there is a full uniform with ties and blazers, etc., etc., or a public Montessori school where maybe they just have a shirt with the logo on it that they ask you to wear, say for outings or for anything like that, please respect the dress code. It really helps. It makes everyone's day easier, and it creates less divide between families and students as well. The fourth thing that your classroom teacher wants you to know is please don't knock on the classroom doors. In the mornings, in elementary and preschool classrooms, there are 3 hours of uninterrupted work time. There's no bells in a Montessori school. There's barely PA announcements. It is a quiet, focused environment at that time. And it is super disruptive when, even with all good intentions, somebody comes along and raps on the classroom door to, hand a lunch that was forgotten or to pass a message on to somebody else. Most Montessori classroom doors have windows, and if they don't have windows, then they will be left open a smidge. We would much rather that you open the door and take a peek inside, observe what the atmosphere and the mood is like in the classroom, and then decide whether it's a good time to come in or not. Sometimes the teacher will be occupied with giving a presentation or working one-on-one with a student, and if you're coming off to drop off something, you can just leave it quietly by the door. Chances are your teacher already knows exactly what's being dropped off. Likewise, if you need to come pick up your student, please don't knock or peek your head in and yell, "Can I come in?" or anything like that. Try and enter the room unnoticed. Or if you see that the adults in the room are occupied, just go to the office and pass along your message then. Either way, it makes a huge difference in not disrupting that focused concentration of the uninterrupted work periods, because that is when most of the hard academic work does get done. The fifth thing that your Montessori teacher would love for you to know is you don't need the Montessori materials at home in order to support your child's learning. In fact, there's very little you may need at home to support your child's learning unless they specifically need some sort of technology to help with reading, learning needs, that kind of thing. And sometimes the best way that you can support your child's learning at home is not actually helping them if they do have homework. Quite often it is easy as parents to offer children the same kind of support and tips that you may have learned when you were in school. However, the method by which that your child is learning the academic core subjects at school is different than how the same subjects and topics are taught in other schools. In fact, the Montessori materials are a relatively small part in your child's Montessori education. If you've watched any of my other how-to Montessori philosophy videos, you might already know that things like grace and courtesy, encouraging independent success and independence in general are massive parts of a child's learning and growing journey. Additionally, if your child is talking to you about something they learned that day, engage them in conversation. Just having conversations with your child revolving something they may have learned in history or something that they learned in science or that they read about is a massive way that you can help promote a sense of passion and interest in a variety of topics with your child. And it'll help develop things like their vocabulary, their sense of global understanding, their sense of how things work. So between just simply conversing with your child, engaging them in passionate conversation about a certain topic, and encouraging them in other ways like practical life and gaining independence, that is in and of itself a massive help to the success and overall growth of your child's school journey as well. Those are my 5 tips from Montessori Teacher for you. I have gathered these tips over quite some years just from chatting with colleagues and other staff from other schools. So I'm pretty sure I've hit some of the big ones. If I haven't, and if you are a Montessori teacher and you are watching this, please comment down below and I will make a part 2. And if things for you for this school year have been completely bamboozled up, perhaps this video will be useful to you in the new year or in the next school year, whenever things return to pre-pandemic normal. Until then, please stay safe, stay sane, and thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you next time.